Hi, welcome back to Movie Roundup. Here, we are recapping a 2005 movie called Munich. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care.
During the Munich Olympics in 1972, few Israeli athletes are held hostage by a terrorist, who demands the release of 200 Arab prisoners. As the German government does not fulfill the demands of the terrorists, the athletes get killed, and create a horrific situation for Jews. After the funeral, a high-profile secret meeting, including the Prime Minister, Chief of Mossad, and other army generals is held in Jerusalem, in which officers are told that a guy named Ali Hassan Salameh is the mastermind behind these attacks. Upon Prime Minister's suggestion, the officials decide to plan a violent counterattack, to showcase their resilience against terrorists. A secret Mossad agent, Avner Kaufman, is called in, and given the mission to kill Ali Hassan Salameh and his 10 accomplices, who were involved in Munich attacks. Avner is asked whether he is ready to take on the mission, that may take years to accomplish. Although hesitant to go because of his pregnant wife, Avner agrees, after thinking it's his professional duty to secure his country's interests. Avner's case officer, Ephraim, briefs him about the mission, and asks him to sign legal documents that prove he is not linked with Mossad in any way. He is informed that all his financial expenses for the mission will be covered by the agency, and his wife will continue to receive his pay, but he cannot reveal his link with Mossad. He is also briefed about other 4 members that will be assisting him in the mission, and is advised to use explosives instead of guns, to take down the terrorist. After arriving at his first stop in Geneva, Avner takes out the money from a secret locker his agency set up for him, and joins the people that will be accompanying him in the mission. He meets the team, including explosives expert Robert, field agent Steve, cleaner Carl, and documentation expert Hans. Each member briefly discloses their backgrounds and their cover professions, while Avner tells them about his wife and the baby. After the introductory meeting, Avner begins the hunt, and arrives in Rome, to get information from his sources. At the cost of $60,000, he is told about his first target, Wiles Waiter, who is currently involved with translation and book reading in Rome. The team starts keeping an eye on Waiter, as he reads the books to his audience. They follow him to his apartment, where Avner shoots him, while Carl removes the evidence from the scene. After celebrating their first success, the team arrives in Paris, where Avner meets another informer, Louis, and introduces him as a freelance agent, who gathers the information for Americans. After coming back to his apartment, he is informed about another attack by terrorists, who have hijacked a plane from German airline Lufthansa. Robert tells him they demanded the release of 3 killers, who were caught after the Munich attack, and the government agreed to fulfill their demands, and terrorists are released and sent back to Libya. He also shows a picture of their next target, Mahmoud Hamshari, and asks his team to find information about him. Robert meets Hamshari, pretending to be a journalist, and asks about his opinion on the Munich attacks, but he says it was just a retaliation from Arabs, who have been humiliated for years. They raid his apartment again in his absence, and set the explosives in the phone. Robert tells them about the remote control detonation of the explosive, and waits for the signal from his team. Carl makes the phone call to signal Robert, but realizes Hamshari's daughter is with him as well, and rushes to him, asking him to abort the mission, as they don't want to kill any innocent. They wait until Hamshari's family leaves again, and detonate the explosive, hence killing him as well. In response to these killings, Israeli embassy in London is attacked by the terrorists, and Avner reveals it's happening as a revenge for Hamshari and Waiter's death. Before moving forward with the mission, Avner secretly visits his wife, to be with her, as their daughter is born. He tells her that he is arranging a place for them in Brooklyn, New York, as he is not allowed to visit Israel during the mission. Although she does not agree with his decision, Avner convinces her to move. After a short visit to his family, he rejoins the team, following their next target, Hussein Abad Al-Kur, currently residing at a hotel in Cyprus. They plan an explosive in his room as well, when Carl congratulates him for his baby girl, revealing he was aware of his secret visit. The team gets to the hotel, where Avner waits for Hussein to arrive, and meets a newly married couple in the next room. Although hesitant whether to go on with their plan or not, he signals to detonate the explosive, which destroys adjacent rooms as well, hurting the new couple and Avner himself, but he gets up and rescues them out of the hotel. They argue with Robert for not precisely measuring the strength of the bomb, but he reveals someone changed the label. Steve thinks it's Louis who has been messing with them, as he provides the explosives. He suggests cutting their ties with him, but Avner thinks they should stick to him, as he is the only source of information they have. In his next meeting with Louis, Avner asks about the malfunctioning explosive, but he does not accept there was anything wrong, and changes the subject, by giving him 3 more names, including Kamal Advan, Kamal Nasir, and Abu Yusuf, who are currently in Beirut. As Avner offers more money for the remaining names, Louis gets offended, thinking he might be working with an agency or the government, and warns Avner if any such thing happens, he will no longer be his informer. Avner meets his case officer Ephraim, and discusses the situation with him. He asks for his permission to go to Beirut, by saying if Mossad does the operation, Louis will know they were working for the agency, and they won't be able to find further information. Although Ephraim does not want to send them to Beirut, Avner convinces him. He and the team, along with the other hired killers, get to Beirut and kill their target, but it results in a crossfire, killing many others as well. Louis gets upset after hearing about the incident, and confronts Avner, that he must have leaked the information to Mossad, as every newspaper reports the agency was behind the incident, but Avner denies his involvement. During the conversation, Louis invites Avner to his home, saying his father wants to meet him. He intends to tell his team about going with him, but he stops him, saying he cannot tell them about the meeting. Although Avner refuses going with him, he changes his mind and decides to meet his father, who, according to Louis, runs their business. While talking to Louis's father in their family home, Avner once again assures him he does not work for any government or agency. Louis's father tells Avner that many people think he should be punished for what happened in Beirut, but Avner tells him it was a mistake, and they did not expect many people to die in the crossfire. Avner thinks he must be angry with him, but he assures he is right in his actions, as the world has been cruel to his people, so they are allowed to retaliate. He agrees to continue working with him, but asks Avner to follow the rules. Before dropping him back at the apartment, Louis tells he has another name for Avner, but he asks him to provide information about Salome, as he is their main target. Avner insists on getting his information, but Louis tells another name, Zahid Mushasi, who is currently in Athens, and assures to arrange a place for them. The team arrives there, but soon find out Louis has also taken the money from their enemies' PLO members, and arranged the same place, but they escape trouble while pretending to be the members of other militant groups like ETA, IRC and Red Faction Army. At night, Avner has a deep conversation with PLO member Ali, about who should rule the land. When Avner accuses his group for killing many people, Ali tells the world has forced them to do so, by oppressing their rights for centuries, but Avner can't decide who is actually on the right side. The next day, as Avner and his team plan an explosive in Zahid's room, and wait for him outside the hotel, he spots Ali with him as well. He orders Robert to flip the remote control switch, but it does not work again, and they realize there is another malfunction with the explosive. Steve argues with Robert again, but Hans gets out of the car and kills Zahid, after throwing a grenade in his room. Ali realizes they are the ones who attack Zahid, and opens fire, but gets killed by Carl in the counterattack. Back in the car, as the team scolds Robert again, he reveals he is not a bomb-making expert, but used to work with bomb disposal squad in the army. All of them realize they are not experts in what they are assigned, but still decide to continue the mission. In the next meeting with Louis, Avner gets shocked to hear that Salome actually works for the CIA, and takes money in exchange for the surety that they won't attack the US diplomats. The team discusses the plan to take down Salome, but there is another argument, as Steve thinks they should kill him immediately, but Carl advises them to be careful not to kill any civilians during the attack. Avner intervenes, and orders to kill Salome, as well as his bodyguards if they come in their way. They start executing the plan to kill Salome, but are interrupted by some drunk Americans, who are later revealed to be CIA agents deployed to protect him. Avner discusses the situation with Carl, who accuses Louis for being a double agent, working with them as well as the CIA, but he does not agree with him. The same night, Avner visits Carl's room, but finds him dead in his bed. As he meets Louis and his father to get information about the killer, he is informed that someone is looking for him, and his team as well. Although Avner gets alarmed, but takes his team to Horn, to shoot the killer who murdered Carl. The team discusses that they have killed 6 out of 11 targets, but the terrorist came back with even deadlier attacks. At night, Avner is informed about Hans's disappearance, and he along with Steve finds him being stabbed to death in a park. Killings of his teammates affects Avner, and he becomes obsessive about his own safety, always thinking someone must be planning to kill him as well. Meanwhile, Robert also gets killed by his own explosives, worsening the situation even further. Louis meets him, and informs about Salome's presence in Spain, and says he is his last target, and if he kills him, the agency will let him go back home. Avner and Steve plan on killing him, but are spotted by the security, and are forced to escape. Avner comes back to Jerusalem, where his junior admires him for the mission, and calls him their hero, but he gets upset after listening to them. He intends to fly to New York to meet his family, but is approached by Ephraim again, who asks him to take rest before rejoining the agency, but he refuses to come back. Although he joins his wife and daughter, he gets delusional, and suffers from trauma for all the killings he has done. He also breaks into the Israeli embassy, and threatens to leak the information if they try to hurt his family. In his attempts to ensure his safety, Avner calls Louis's father, asking if someone is trying to track him down, but he assures no harm will come his way from their side. After some time, Ephraim meets him again, and asks to come back to Israel. Avner invites him over to break bread with him as a peace gesture, but he refuses and walks away, revealing the peace and reconciliation efforts won't be successful.
The movie ends here. Don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. Thank you.